the recording. We're starting. Just a second. The recording. Okay, good morning, everybody. We're super excited this morning. We are going to have a great treat this morning, starting the day Thursday. And again, thank you to Tracy and Lance Smith to inviting Samson. I'm super excited to have him on the call this morning. And he doesn't have a lot of introduction, but I can tell you that he not only is a legend, but the legend is growing in network marketing. His experience, he has learned incredible income. He's one of the best trainers that we have. And I don't know, Tracy or Lance, if you want to add something before we start with the call.
I would. Thank you, George. Good morning, everybody. We are excited to have Samson on the call. I did the please, will ya with him because I love learning from Samson. He's a great guy. I want to introduce him this morning a little bit and tell you how we met a little bit in the background. Samson and I were and Lance, we've all been in the industry, and we were just industry friends. Really, we were never connected business wise. And but we really enjoyed talking with each other. We got to know each other and we connected on social media. And so that's really how we started our relationship. Samson and I are very spiritually aligned. We really enjoy passing, for years, we've passed videos back and forth and talked about it. And probably at least once a week, I would guess. And we just really enjoyed learning spiritually together too, and sharing different things that we've found that enhance our relationship. So that's kind of how we started for years. And so I know I talked last Thursday about the 5 different kinds of wealth. And so with Samson, it was really a social wealth that we connected with, and we built that relationship from there. So as I think a lot of you know a lot about Samson. He's been an incredible businessman, through his life. He's owned furniture stores and he's been an auctioneer. He's done all those fun things. I know you've heard a lot about those kind of things, but I want to tell you maybe a couple other things. He's a really great friend. Samson's very loyal and respected as a man, and a wonderful father. He has 3 kids that are absolutely amazing. He has a beautiful wife. Samson's been a fisherman, so that's something else that we connected on. He loves to catch those big game fish. And maybe something you didn't know. I don't know if you knew that he is a pianist. He plays a beautiful piano, and he's really like a concert level pianist. I don't know if you've ever known that. Very, very talented. And he's a very private person, just like Kim. They like to do their work. But they like their privacy also, which is very interesting in our industry. For so many years, I thought your life had to be all displayed, but it really doesn't. You can have a privacy aspect to it too. So, when Samson talks, everybody listens. And I just love listening to him. I love his teaching. I love his quiet strength. And so I'm super excited to share Samson with you. And so thank you so much, Samson. He is our featured speaker, and I'm super excited for him to take it away. So there you go, Samson.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to you and Lance for your friendship over the years. I remember many, many years ago how we met. We sat on the North American Distributor Board. That's a long time ago. I think almost 10 years, right? Has it been that long? Oh my gosh. Well, sometimes people who are alike, we tend to hang out together for a little bit longer than usual. So this is definitely not a transactional business. Thank you so much, Tracy, for the intro. And thank you, George and Adrian, for putting the calls together all the time. And thank you for all of you being here. It's really my honor and pleasure to be here. I've known many of you, and I don't know many of you. It's great. It's always my honor to share my experience in this industry. Like Tracy said, I've been a business owner for many years. I describe myself more of a business owner than anything. I started in real estate when I was 19, got my real estate license, did some mortgages, a little bit real estate sales. This was still going to college. Sometimes the need to make money. It makes you do things. So at that time, to be very practical, my parents got divorced. I thought maybe I can do something to take care of myself. My father just got into the real estate industry back then. End up like many people, we just happen to do things for whatever reason. Maybe not that we are crazy excited about it, but just maybe something to do. And so my father did real estate. I did real estate. I ended up studying real estate with a BS degree in business admin. For those who don't know, a BS degree means Bachelor of Science. Okay. So graduated with finance and real estate degree, got my broker license afterwards. But in life, it's not about what you learn, but what you do. So I would say that even at 22, 23 years old, even a broker, having my own office, about 10 agents, I still didn't know what I was doing. And well, in a few years' time, a friend of mine asked me if I want to get into the furniture business and to be partners with him. I thought, how hard can it be? Right? We tend to do things that are easy, right? Buy low, sell high. How hard can it be? Right? So, but everything is not as what we think. That's what I found out. For sure, I worked hard as is necessary in anything. Having my own business, I actually, my first rule of business is to really get your money back. That's my first rule, right? You put money in a business and you got to go all out and you got to work hard. So I worked hard for 2 years. Over 2 years' time, maybe 2 days off. And I was lucky to make my investment back in the furniture business. And over the next 8 years, 10 years total, I opened 3 stores, made money, and then lost money. So I've been there. Um, well, c'est la vie, right? That's how life is, a life of an entrepreneur. I would not call myself a successful person at the time. And when I had lost everything, moved back in with my dad in my 30s. And I just thought, I got to do something, maybe anything, just no employees, no rent, no liabilities. I was looking for a business model. Obviously, I didn't have any more money to start a business. I ended up becoming an auctioneer when I was liquidating my stores. I saw somebody in Santa Ana, California, at an auction house going five. Would it give me five? Would it give me five? Would it give me 10? 10? Would it give me 10 now? 15? Would it give me 15? 15? Would it give me etc. So I'm not that good. So, but anyway, I practiced with the telephone poles going down the street, left and right, left and right. Telephone poles are bidding. So I knew, back then, like Tracy mentioned, as a piano player, so I knew whatever I need to do, I probably can practice. How good I'd be, I don't know, but I did recognize something. We tend to get what we focus our time on. Where our focus goes, energy flows. I think some of you probably heard that before. But nowadays, yesterday I was talking with a business partner of mine who I've known for more than 10 years, as a matter of fact. I've known him since he was 19 in the industry. Um, and I'm trying to help him. We talk, and of course, even after a year and a half, he's still kind of stuck. He's not here today, so I'll talk about him, not by name, but when you drive a gravel truck 6 days a week from 2 p.m. to 3 a.m., how much time do you have extra? And like I share with him, sometimes, what you spend your time in, well, that's your future. Well, obviously he felt he was going nowhere, and that's why he's in three. And it's something that we talk about. And I thought, you know what, just aside from just talking about who's on his list and how to work with him, because he's gone through his list over about 3 times and not having that much success, I took him to where I live when I had no money. Okay. I took him to where I live. I thought, you know what, it's sometimes you have to see it. It has to be visual. When you get into something, it's not only about believing what it is and that you can do it, but really recognize where you are. That's part of it. It's like whatever platform you're in, whatever job you're in, whatever career you're in a way, you've gotten on this vehicle and you're trying to get somewhere. So nowadays, obviously, we can relate to with our GPS, right? On our phone or in our car. So you got to recognize where you are and then really visualize and not only believe, but know that you will get to your destination. I think that's a big deal. I think beyond belief is knowing, right? Is there a show called that? Okay, beyond belief or something? Okay. But many times as we get into a new business, as I, for example, put myself back in 20 years when I first started, well, I met Kim 20 years ago in a business and we became friends. And she said, Samson, you're tall, go talk. I said, okay. I never talked in front of a crowd before, right? So I did my little piano practice at trying to be perfect at doing all those things, right? I'm willing to practice hard, right? Well, I would say that my belief level is very low. And one of the reason is I didn't know what I want out of it. I just thought, hey, Kim is a great lady. She seems very sharp, successful. We become friends, and I was only working 3 days a week as an auctioneer. I had time. So I literally moved from my apartment in Pasadena at that time, to the same city as she is in, 30 minutes away from Pasadena. Proximity is important. Being close to somebody who's successful is important. So I just thought, maybe if I can be successful, maybe I can know her, how she think, how she act, what she say. It'll rub off on me. I don't know. So sometimes, your belief is not about yourself. It's also your philosophy, right? And like Jim Rohn would say, what is your philosophy, right? So I got to know her. Whenever she need to go to the airport, I take her. Whenever we go to a meeting, I call her up. Hey, Kim, do you need a ride to the meeting? Well, when we don't have the necessary belief, we grab onto somebody else who has that belief. It's important. I think even back then, I did the business wrong. No, the biggest mistake, even though I believe a little bit, I say a little bit, the biggest mistake I made was I worked by myself. I did not give permission for other people to help me. Did not give myself permission to receive from others. Often I see people when I interact with them, they're so wound up, they're so tight, they don't show any vulnerability. At the same time, they're blocking my love for them in a way, I guess, if you want to put it energetically, right? So one of the hardest things I found as I got into the industry was to be able to receive. Nowadays it's like when I look back, I recognize that at the first half of my life, but I did not do that very well at all. Nowadays we need to say more. I receive. When something good happens to you, just say I receive. That's good. By receiving, you open yourself up and you open your brain up to the possibility that's out there, that God has put out in front of you. You open it up. And we get too caught up in our own thinking. We get caught up in our own imperfect thinking. We get caught up in a thinking that does not know enough about what we're trying to accomplish. Or, the more I learn, the more I realize, the more I don't know. So, but we have to, in a way, I guess, let ourselves go, right? No, like that song, Let It Go. Just let ourselves go. Let it go. Right? If you look at that song, it's a great song. It's good instruction. And I say that because I realize if we want to go somewhere we've never been, we really got to be humble about it. I realized because to walk that path, it's hard enough walking the path of life, but it's even harder not knowing where you're going. There's a saying in Chinese, business is like trying to cross the river by feeling your way, by feeling the rocks at the bottom of the river, trying to get across this river, blindly. Your head's above the water, but your feet and hands are below the water, trying to get across blindly. And what if there's like a steep drop? Cannot tell it's coming. So The easiest way is just to follow people who have done it. So your belief in what you're doing, follow people and ask questions. I didn't realize nowadays, there's so many gurus on YouTube, right? And the people I follow now who have a track record, they all talk about asking questions. But you can build your belief by asking questions. And there's no questions that's too dumb, I realize, so I just ask away. And the other day I was so happy when somebody just got on board and they were just asking. And I was so happy. It's like there's no questions that's too dumb. Just ask. That's the shortcut. If anybody want a shortcut, just ask. Right? So it's very important. And look, we don't know everything. Sometimes we don't even know what to ask. We need to ask. So my philosophy is just ask. That's the shortcuts. Don't try to figure it out. 20 years ago, I had my boss hat on. I know George has his 3 hat, but I had my boss hat, right? And the boss hat means, back then, one of the reasons I did not make it in the furniture business, I never asked my employees how I should run my business, right? I always try to figure it out, right? I'm the boss. I'm always the one giving instructions. Oh no, instead we got to receive instruction. We got to receive feedback. Another shortcut to success is called feedback. And to be able to take feedback, we really have to humble ourselves. All this, the feedback, it actually builds your belief. It makes you think. Most of us, I realize in life, we don't think enough. Really. We need to really think of why we're here, why we do what we do. What do we really want? It's important. Yesterday, when I was talking to my business partner, um, oh, somebody has an echo. I was talking to my business partner, and he has a girlfriend. I say, well, you should ask her, about the future that you want. You have to be aligned. If not, then it's going to be very difficult. Hey, I say that from experience, okay? So, and nobody's perfect. So, a lot of times in anything to build a successful business, it's a relationship. It's a relationship between you and the company. It's a relationship with you and your leaders. It's a relationship between you and your team. It's a relationship to life about yourself with yourself, and that's actually probably the hardest part, right? Understanding yourself, knowing yourself, and you know, um, as I get old, I realize that time is short. Uh, 56 this year, not that old, but getting there. Okay, time is short. And I said to my friend yesterday, you know, in business, just whatever we do in life, business is part of life. Don't waste time, or else time will waste you. So I think that hit him pretty hard, even though he's only like 32. So, but he's been through a few things. He's trying to climb up the ladder. He's struggled in business. I said, look, just don't waste time. Find out what you want, decide, make a commitment, make a decision, and make a commitment. The belief will come. The more you do, the more you believe. Or it could be the more you believe that, yeah, there are a lot of people out there who say no, and there's some people who say yes. But the more, and you should eat no for breakfast because you're bigger than all the no's. You know what I'm saying? That's why 95% of people out there, they have a normal life. But really, what's normal? And it's funny, Tracy talked about, being aligned in certain things. I think being entrepreneurs, all of us are aligned in that way where we want to be independent thinkers. We want to create our own economy. And that's part of, just not being a part of that system, which sucks us in many times. And most of us didn't grow up with a lot, just maybe little or maybe just regular in the system. And we thought that that's all we're worth. And our belief has been stepped on by everybody else. And for those of you who are hard on yourself, yeah, you stepped on yourself too. Don't know, that's not necessary. Don't waste time. Don't spend energy on things and people you cannot control because you waste time, time wastes you. So, I would say that, look, I never go around saying, hey, you can make this much, you can make this much, you can make this much. I would say that you have the potential to have a great life. It's just like me. I lost everything. I've been there where, um, yeah, I had to think about spending $3 to $5. I've been there, right? I've been there. But I always believe, I guess, not that I believe in myself, but believe in life that no matter where we are, look, like before I had kids, there's never a good time to have kids. There's what people, oh, we got to plan this, plan that. When you have kids, you have kids. You got to deal with it, right? But that's how life is. That's how life is. As you go out, build your business, whatever happens, just deal with it. Eat no for breakfast. Okay? They say is the bigger your why, the smaller your problems. And there's no such thing as problem. When money and people can solve problems, it's not a problem. When money and people cannot solve the problem, that's a real problem. We are blessed with the abundance in this world that we've been, given. And it's true, don't live inside your head. It's funny. Yesterday, after I had the talk with my friend, he said, "Oh, I got to get out of my head." I said, "You're right," because what is in here is not all that there is. It's out there too. It's out there. Over the years, I learned to believe more in what I'm doing by simply being a part of the team, interacting more with other people. And look, if everybody can do it, you can do it. Definitely. Now, today, it's Tracy asked me to talk about belief. Um, just going back to the very basic things. The company, Lance, Tracy, me, Kim, Mike and Linda McCormick, we went to search for, an owner to open a company for us. 3. And we found Daniel. And at the time, he was tied to, another company. But after talking, we came together and decided to do something big. This legacy company we're building with all of you. And we're honored to have all of you to be a part of it. Now, I don't never say we need everybody. But we definitely need good people because this industry is about working hard, becoming that, and then paying it forward. That's the only way you become successful here. And instead of thinking, oh, just for my own selfish reason, I need to become successful, I realize that success, it takes a whole team of people to create any individual success. And it takes a bunch of individuals to create massive success as a company. Rising tides raises all ships. We're at the very beginning. I've seen this before. I've seen this. This is my 4th um, platform in the industry in the last 20 years. The first one I was in, I saw Kim have massive success. And I'll just tell you the numbers. The first time 20 years ago I met her, as I had no idea the potential of this business. And if you haven't hung around with the top people in the industry, you still don't have any idea yet, like I did 20 years ago. Well, I saw her lead a company. At the time, it was a 9-year-old company when she joined. After she joined, she helped that company go to 195 countries and territories within 2.5 years with a team of 240,000 people. It's mind-blowing. You're like, okay, how do you achieve that? Well, well, let's not talk about how, but just ask ourselves, like, what are we doing every day what are we not doing every day that she did 20 years ago? That's sometimes, it's not about comparison, but I still stand in awe today. The capacity, not only with her, but it's not only her, but it was through masses of people who need an opportunity. So there you go. See, that's a good story for you to eat no for breakfast. You know, If you realize that the people that will help you build the business, they're out there, or you might not have found them yet. So how soon you want to find them? You want to find the people that chase you for information, that are hungry to do something to get out of this situation. My friend yesterday, he is so tired being sick and tired. I mean, like every time he mentioned a job, his face it changes, his head tips down. It just hates it. So, and take that sometimes you got to get a feeling like that, that the things that you're not happy with, that you definitely want to change, that will even hurt you if you don't change it. That creates that motivation, that short-term motivation for you to get to the next level. And I just told you the kind of number I met Kim 20 years ago. It just blew my mind. I know e-commerce was big. I didn't realize how big it could be within such a short time. And that pulled my own belief closer to what it needs to be, because I was lucky to be next to her. I just didn't know how she did it, because I saw event after event after event after event. And then, so how do you make the money? Let me tell you, 90% of the money is made outside of events. It's through intimate discussions with your sponsor or your leader as they guide you with their experience. And it's just unlocking the blockage that's in our thinking, that we can keep moving forward. That's actually how this business is. Entrepreneurs, and I relate to what Kim said many years ago, entrepreneurs solve problems for profit. You know where the most problems are? It's not out in the marketplace, it's in our own head. So the more problems, the more things we can unlock, the faster, the more likely we'll take the next step and next step and next step. Empathy is so important. And some of you I know are very seasoned. I know um I know some of you are traditional business owner, and you know how that's how it is. You solve the problem, you keep moving forward, making money. You solve another problem, you keep moving forward, right? And then your market get bigger, bigger, and bigger. And here we solve people problem, we solve our own problem, we solve our own thinking, we correct our thinking that's been skewed from beliefs that we took on that's not ours. We we put our money down on those, and that's wrong. And that's the difference. That's why no matter what, it's a fact that people out there have not seen what you have seen. They've not done what you have done. They've not heard what you have heard. So they're not gonna know. Just know that. 100%, that's a fact. So you just need to communicate to them. You need to learn how to communicate better. Um, and and so it will, and the little success over time will build your belief in yourself in this platform. Okay. I always say, look, if you talk to 5 people, you get like all 5 no's or all 5 like negative attitude, go back to your sponsor right away and say, and do a review, get feedback. Very important. Nothing wrong. So over time, I just learned that, if you really want what you want out of this platform, you really got to submit yourself. You got to be obedient to the process. That's all. It's important. I think you got to be obedient to the process, and let the process let that form you. We are built to succeed. We are definitely. I prove to you right now. Our brain doesn't take negativity. If I ask you, do not think about the color of your refrigerator right now. Do not think about it. All of you are thinking about your refrigerator, even though I told you not to, right? So you don't take negativity. Your brain doesn't really take that. It's your heart that takes that. But don't know, there's no need. Just be strong for yourself, for your reasons. And most important to believe anything is really believe in what you want out of life. I asked him, so what do you really want? What kind of life you want? That's actually where it should start. If you have all the money in the world, how would you live your life? Whatever situation you're in. Relationships, family, you can't change that. But what kind of life would you lead? What kind of life would you want to have? Because it can never, if you don't see it in your mind sight, you won't be able to get where you're going. For years I hear people talk about the law of attraction, and not that you become a magnet to attract it. Just know that it's there already. And when you can see it in your mind, in detail. If you want to take a picture, vision board, whatever you need to do, iPad, TV with the photos and albums on loop, whatever you need to do, put those pictures together. Your mind, it's like instinct. It's like hunt, like the hunter-gatherer instinct in your head. When you see it, and you know it in your bones. I mean, look, I used to be honest, I used to spend my time, invest my time for the business in going window shopping. You know, like the first time I ever bought a nice shirt was at I happened to be dating a girl in New York. I was had time. She was working. I went to Columbus Square, South Central Park South. Went to a store called Hugo Boss. I look at this shirt, right? Button down shirt, $275. I'm like, why is a shirt $275? What's wrong with Ross or Marshalls? So like 20, $15, $25 shirts, except those lead a ring around the collar. I mean, like they're so rough around the neck, after I put my tie on after an event, I have a little ring around the collar, right? Anyway, the salesman said, "Hey, try the shirt on for free." Well, I mean, just try it on. I said, "Okay, why not?" Right? They don't do that at Marshalls. The people work there. They don't say, "Hey, here's a nice shirt. Why don't you try it on?" They don't say that, right? So the salesman at Hugo Boss said, "Hey, try on a shirt." I said, "Why not?" I go in the fitting room. I try it on, and I'm like, "Wow, it's so soft like silk. Oh my God, that's why it's $275, right?" That works, because after I tried it on, I bought it. I said, well, at the time I could afford it. I just like 275. I justified it to myself. When's the last time I threw away a shirt? It's like never, right? Unless there's holes in it. So I said, okay, I can afford it. I bought it, right? But when you have that feeling, when you do window shop, and not that you have to buy the shirt, but when you do window shopping, look, if you want, I did car auctions for many years. So I go sit in cars and try them out, smell the leather, feel the steering wheel, the shifter, and it becomes more real, in your mind sight. But the more real it is, or just the more real you make your vision, the more you're gonna see the possibilities, see the way in life, see the people that's around you. Either you know them or just brand new that will lead you there. It's like it's the reverse of law of attraction. You actually open yourself, and all of a sudden you see the things that will help you. You hear the things that will help you. You will know the things that will help you to get to where you want to be. Many years ago, as I got into the industry, I always believed that whatever energy I put out there, somehow it will come back. I work hard. Somehow I know it. I know it. Somehow that productivity, that money is going to come back. That people is going to come back. Somehow it's going to come back. I just need to be so positive, like a little, magnet, right? Smile all the time, which I do all the time, and just have that positive energy, because people with the same ilk, they attract each other, right? Because you don't want somebody negative to be in your business. It wears you down. It takes a lot. You want just to be out there, but to the point, right? You got to focus in your mind what you're trying to accomplish. So over the years, I learned, to believe the whole process a little bit better. I learned the process a little bit better, how to talk to people, how to ask questions, using different tones, curious tone, concerned tone, different ways to ask the right questions. And if you don't know how to ask questions, it's okay. Write down the words who, what, when, why, where, and how. I literally did that. I literally did that. So as I talk to people on the phone, I look at the words. Okay, what's the next question I'm going to ask? I'm going to pick a word. Who? Oh, so how have you been? How are the kids? When's the last time you guys went on vacation? Oh, how are your parents? Where are they? So I just went through all the question words, and I keep asking, become nosy. And over time, I learned how to ask the right question to gauge their situation, to see if there's something for them from what I have to offer. And that's how it is. So And through a little success, you start building on your belief. So over time, it takes baby steps to climb a mountain, but you got to climb. You got to submit to the process. It's okay. Eat no for breakfast. Just go at it. You want to go so fast that you don't have time to worry about people saying no. You just, want what you want. You want to focus on it. Don't waste time. Another thing I told my friend yesterday, I asked him, so what's the most productive thing you can do in the business? You know what that is? Key in application or put it in an order. That's the most productive thing you can do, period. That's when you make money, right? So any process that doesn't lead you to keying in an order or putting in an application and making anything that does not lead you to that point, it's a waste of time, right? It's a waste of time. So, because many people like me, 15 years ago, I decided to get into this industry full time. I quit all my auction jobs to jump into the industry. So my back against the wall, and I had time, and that was a problem. I had all the time, but I need to make money. So and I'll leave all of you with a few goals to help you believe more in your business. So at that time, I quit all my auction jobs, so I had no other income. I burned my bridge. I just thought, hey, we're starting something new. Kim's our good friend. She's gonna help me to some degree, but she's not the type to give me anything. She never gives anybody anything. We all have to earn it because it's a process. It's not a handout. So she knew I had to learn it, but she was whatever time I need, I can always ask. And I still not quite used to asking for her time yet at that time. So I just went about it, and I decided, you know what? From the first of the month, I need to make money. I cannot wait till the end of the month to make money to pay my rent. I need about $1,700 to $2,000 to survive. Now it's a lot more, right? So we gotta hustle. We gotta go. So every day I say, you know what? I need to make money every day. I go to the supermarket, I see the register going ka-ching, ka-ching, and never stops. Money's coming in. Money's coming in. I said, that's a business. And in my furniture business, it was every day we have sales. Except there were all those days where I was at blanco, zero. Those are not good days when you have 3 stores. But every day we need to make money. And then I realized a simple way to work the compensation plan is to cycle once a day. That's a good goal. It's a really good goal. Now, hopefully all of you understand the compensation plan, the team commission. You need to make at least one a day. How do you do that? Well, 300 points on one team, 600 on the other. You make a $35 commission, or 45 if you're happy 10. Well, how do you make that 300 and 600? Well, either you go talk to somebody and key in an order through them and other people, and also with your team. If you have a team already, help them key in an order. That's the way I look at it. So naturally, you're gonna call your team up. If you don't have any appointment, you better set some, because you got to do it. You can the only person who can control is yourself. Second, if you have a team, you call your team, say, hey, how you doing? What's your schedule today and tomorrow and the next day and the next week? Hey, who are you gonna put yourself in front of? Okay, who can I help you with? Talk to. You can leverage me. I can do the presentation, or we can use a video. And do you want to talk about your contact list? And so every day I did that. So soon I realized who is working, who's not working, who's working, who's not working, right? So naturally, the people who are working, they will become your future leaders in your team to help to work together, and you're going to make matching bonus from them too. Naturally, I don't even have to target anybody. I don't even have to target where they are. I don't even have to. I realized with this kind of compensation plan, I don't even have to think about where I'm going to build a business. All I know is I'm going to build wherever my people are working. That's it, right? So yes, we're in such a dynamic society now where the internet connects everybody. It's not where you want to build, it's where the people are that you go to and work with. So over the years, I realized, every little step that you take, it adds up. It adds up. And over and over again is that there are people who deserves our time because they put the effort in, they have a strong mind, they're hungry, they're working, they're trying their best. Spend a little bit more time on them because the time you spend on them, it pays off in spades at the other end down the road. Because if they have the heart for it, really, the tenacity for it, the grit for it, sometimes that's all it takes. For sure. You don't need to be the smartest one. Sometimes the most successful people in the world, they're not the smartest. You know, they're just the hard work. They have to work hard for sure. But for sure, to be successful, you need commitment and determination. And then the belief, it grows over time. It grows over time, right? So your sponsor and your leader is there to help you build your belief, to guide you. And you yourself have to take the wheel to drive the car, right? And I hope that you drive a better and better and better car down the road. That's all I can say. Thank you for your time. We're lucky to be in three with all that we have, with a management team, with incredible scientists, incredible products. Uh, it's crazy results all over the world. And we're lucky to have all of you. And all of you want to live a life that's healthy, that you can share, and then you can create something for yourself and maybe even a legacy for your family. So we're all fortunate to be here together. This community is beautiful. Thank you so much. Tracy, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Well, thank you, Samson. And I know a lot of you are probably on the East Coast, so go eat some nose for lunch, right? But anyway, that was great content. Thank you so much, Samson, and that personal relationship. Absolutely. That one-on-one and knowing what
Some
they
comment,
want.
by the way, the recording from
Fantastic.
this is already on the Zoom, right? Just copy the Zoom on the right side, and then you're going to go to the recording on this one,
Perfect.
on
Thank
our
you
channel.
again. All
Thank
right,
you.
George. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Samson.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
Thank you,
much.
George and Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, great, great information. I
Wonderful.
post a lot of the comments on the right side.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you watch the recording, the replay, and send it to your team, the ones that cannot be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Samson.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
Samson.
And thank
Thank
you,
you,
Tracy.
everybody. See you
Bye.
soon. See you in June, if not sooner.
See you
Thank
soon,
you.
Samson.
God bless
Thank you,
everybody.
Samson. Love
Amazing
you.
day.
Samson.
Have an amazing day.
Great.
Thank
Great.
you, buddy.
Thank you.